How the hell does skin get on my arm?
Quagmire, put your skin back on. One of us is about to freak out.
On my latest review, I got a request from someone asking me to review the episode of Family Guy where Meg falls in love with Brian, or more so, becomes obsessed with Brian after an incident at her junior prom that should never have happened because Brian just had to drink while at there, aka Barely Legal. An absolutely awkward name for an equally uncomfortable episode, where, as I just explained, Brian takes Meg to her junior prom, and she becomes obsessed with him to the point of kidnapping him. And it's been a minute since I talked about a Family Guy episode, and since I changed up my editing software and how I make videos, I figured I'd talk about it before going to the next King of the Hill episode. I'll be honest, as I stated in my last Family Guy review, I'm not the biggest fan of the series, but it doesn't mean that there aren't any episodes that I do like. There are episodes with deeper scenes and not just constant cutaways, but that is what Family Guy basically is, and it works. I also picked up Among Us. If you want to see me stream it, check out my Twitch. Shameless plug-in aside, let's get into Family Guy Season 5, Episode 8, Barely Legal. Also, before we begin, I'm going to skip any cutaways as they're just there to pad out the episode and add random access humor sometimes. So I'm not going to waste any of your time or my time with that. Also, I'm not going to title the video the episode. I'm just gonna say, I don't know, something creative that has nothing to do with the actual title of the episode. We see Adam West watching a parody of the 1984 action romance comedy, Romancing the Stone, and like him, sends the entire police force to Colombia to look for the fictional character Elaine Wilder, leaving the entire town without any police at all. He probably did the same thing when he saw an episode of Gilligan's Island, an island that doesn't exist. They could have just told him, but Mayor, she's already been rescued. Or just flat out tell him that it's just a movie and go to bed, Adam! Rest in peace, Adam West. You will be missed and remembered for being one of the most iconic people to play Batman. A week passes, and of course, Peter has to be Peter.
Hey, Lois, can you run inside and get me some oranges or whatever it is these things eat?
Peter, what is that?
This would be a giraffe, Isaac Newton. Yeah, I stole it from the zoo. What with Mayor West sending all the cops away, everybody can do whatever they want.
How did Peter get a giraffe? How did he get a saddle to fit a giraffe? How did he get a saddle on said giraffe? These are questions that are not answered. And I don't really know if having the answers will change any of the fact that the cops have been gone for a week and they didn't just go back to the mayor that was watching a fictional movie, and Elaine Wilder isn't in Colombia. She isn't even a real person, but a character played by Mary Ellen Trainor. Lois tells Peter to get rid of the giraffe, which it's shown to be at Quagmire's, doing who knows what, nor will I think about it. He shoos it away, it backing up into Cleveland's house, destroying it in the usual way, causing him to slide down in his bathtub. A reoccurring gag that happens throughout this series, even being what did in Loretta. I don't think this happens again after he returned with his new and criminally underutilized family from the Cleveland show, which, I'm gonna say it, I like the Cleveland show more than Family Guy. It gave Cleveland more character development, and he became more than the slow-talking black friend, and more of an independent character with his own personality and charm. Now that he's put back to the sideline with his family that hardly ever gets any lines in, if at all, or they just crap on them. There are so many ideas they could use with them. They could even make some episodes that don't have to do with Peter and what stupidity he has in store. Maybe give the A-plot to Cleveland and his family from time to time. or even any of the wide range of recurring characters that Family Guy insists on having in the background doing nothing. Yes, the show is called Family Guy, but at least we get some new plots and not just the same thing over and over and over and over. But that's just me. Jillian calls Brian about coming over to watch Laguna Beach, and there's a joke about Pacific time and specific time, while Stewie laughs on the phone at how ditzy she is.
Stewie, are you on the line?
Yes.
Jillian, I'll talk to you later.
And I'll be honest, out of the many characters in Family Guy, I'd have to say Stewie is my favorite. I don't know why, but he's always been a character I relate to the most. From being just an evil baby that wants to kill that blasted woman, to the character that he is now. Him even having a fake accent to feel like he's different from the Neanderthal of a family. Speaking of which, I could go on and on about how Brian dating ditzy women to make himself seem smarter in comparison, but in reality, he's just a narcissistic failure of an artist who loves to hear himself talk, and how everything he stands for is just a way for him to pat himself on the back and make himself look deeper than what he really is. A metaphorical drop of water on a hot dinner plate. The real Brian coming out when he gets plastered, which is almost all the time, considering he's an alcoholic. Not at the level of actual complex characters like Rick Sanchez is, but still, if Stewie is my favorite character, then Brian would have to be my least favorite character. His character made the complete opposite change throughout the course of the series, from the voice of reason, and even being a Christian, I think, I'm not entirely sure, to being an obnoxious atheist with a drinking problem and an inability to write a competent story without ripping off actual good literature and making it worse. And I'm not even going to get into the nasty business of him dating human women. Yeah, he's dated female dogs before, but I'm getting off track. Meg comes in crying, talking about how no one wants to go with her to the dance, even her backup guy having plans to avoid taking her. Okay, I get that Meg being the punching bag of the series is supposed to be, haha, funny joke, she ugly, let's make fun of her. Let's just ignore her struggles and make fun of her because humor. But she doesn't deserve this. Brian deserves more crap than she does. I mean, he does get called out for his stupidity, but Meg gets worse in my opinion, and I don't get it. I mean, yeah, she isn't all that put together mentally, and she has some really messed up, interests, but look at the rest of her family. We all know, or those who watch enough of the show like I, and presumably you guys watching this, I mean, who hasn't watched Family Guy at least once in their life? I mean, unless you're Amish. Wait, why would you be watching this if you're Amish? How would you be watching this if you're... Here I go again. Ryan agrees to go with her to the dance, so she doesn't, yeah, I'm not gonna even attempt to joke at this. Moving on. Trisha Chakanawa does a news segment of how the police being gone and how it affects the citizens of Quahog, and there's a strange reference to the movie/musical The Wiz and the bizarre dance sequence after the Wicked Witch was melted. Don't ask how that fits into the theme of the episode. It's just another joke made by the brilliant writer Kirker Butler and director Zach Moncrief. The boys are at the clam, and Joe rolls on in. Say what you will about how corny that joke is, it's a lot better than the crap in this episode. As he talks about the reason why he's not in Columbia, because it's not wheelchair accessible. Right. One crappy cutaway later, and we're back at the Griffin's house, where Brian is getting ready to take Meg to the dance, and he's already hitting the drink, and has green in his jacket pocket. And he's going to his school, with that on his person. Let's just move on. At the school dance, he takes another drink, and another, and another, and another, getting drunk as the night goes on, as he goes on about these chicks. Which, do I even need to talk about how messed up this whole thing is? No, because it's immensely messed up. Those are minors, Brian. It doesn't matter that you're a dog. You're like, what, in your 40s then? Maybe older? I don't know, shows like these have wacky world logic with ages and times, so it stays episodic and keep topical with the events while keeping them at the same age. Connie and some background characters make fun of Meg, and Brian stands up for her for some reason.
I think I have a theory about why you're such a... You see, Connie, you're popular because you developed early and started giving when you were 12, but now you can't stand to look at yourself in the mirror because all you see is... So you pick on Meg to avoid the inevitable realization that once your body's used up by age 19, you're gonna be a worn-out, chalky-skinned burlap sack that even your stepdad won't want. How's that? Am I in the ballpark?
So you have to be drunk to give a crap about Meg? And let's not forget that the fact that you're saying all this to a teenager, yeah, she's a boy, but that's how teenagers are. And yeah, she may not grow out of it when she gets older. Then you can say whatever you want about her. But the fact is, she isn't an adult. I know I'm thinking too deep in a Family Guy episode, but still. Meg thanks him for standing up for her, and, well...
Sorry, that was the booze, not you. You gonna eat that?
Well, Brian's going to jail. Oh, wait. The cops are gone. Was that the whole reason they took the cops out of the episode? To allow this to go on without Brian being put under the jail? I don't know if anyone has forgotten this, but Joe is still around. Whatever, let's just move on from this horrid scene. That's the domino that starts the chains of events that only going to go downhill as we continue the episode. The next morning, Stewie is excited to start ribbing on Brian for taking Meg to the dance when Meg walks in, wanting to spend the day with Brian, and he brushes her off. And they make a joke about this. Another cutaway, and the boys are at the police academy to replace the cops that are still gone.
Well, this is it. Our first day of Police Academy 4.
And they go through a series of tests, which is just a series of gags. As we go back to the disgusting A-plot with Meg and Brian, when Brian should just tell her that the kiss was a mistake and it never should have happened. But no, we just keep letting this escalate more and more until it explodes in this disgusting septic tank of a plot. You know what? I wish the A-plot was Peter and the gang joined the police force to help Joe with the lack of cops in the city, and this thing can be the B-plot, if not just completely taken out. I don't want to talk about it. I'm certain that you guys don't either, but no, let's focus on this. But just remember this as the episode progresses. We could and should have gotten Peter and the Police Academy, an episode title I made up for the better plot of the episode and more likely going to use for the title. And this disgusting plot was what Kirker thought would be a better idea for an episode rather than Peter goes to the police academy. Wow. Brian would rather pretend to make plans with Chris before agreeing to go with Meg after she almost told Lois what happened, as Stewie runs to join them. And don't worry, Lois finds out what happens eventually. At the mall, Meg tries holding Brian's hand, weird, and she introduces him to her friends as her boyfriend, and they act just like a grown man would think teens act.
Ooh, he's older.
He's cute. Do you have a brother?
Makeup and stickers and ponies and MySpace.com.
She claims Brian is her boyfriend, and he finally tells her that they're just friends.
I like you. I think you're great, but what happened at the dance was... that kiss was just a mistake. Meg, the fact is, you and I are friends, and that's the way it needs to stay. Besides, I have a girlfriend. I'm dating Jillian.
Meg tells Brian that she understands, but then as he leaves, she starts talking to herself, and this is where it starts taking a hard fall to the depths of Meg's insanity as a simple crush that turns into an obsession. Now, this won't be the only time that Meg has done this. It even happens later when Joe and Bonnie have their daughter, and Meg becomes obsessed with Joe, trying to get Bonnie out of the picture. I don't know if this has anything to do with the episode, just that Meg has some problems. Speaking of which, we get one of the more memorable moments in the episode when Meg brings Brian a pie she made. with her hair in it.
Do you feel me, Brian? Do you feel me inside of you?
We also get an annoying recurring joke that they throw in every so often when they probably can't think of anything clever to say.
Yeah, Cool Whip.
Cool Whip.
Cool Whip.
Cool Whip.
Cool Whip.
No, we're not sitting through this. Look, I get it. It's a tee-hee funny because he's saying it and Brian gets annoyed. And Brian telling him he's eating hair and he does a spit take.
You're eating hair!
We get back to what should have been the A plot as Peter talks about how he's an official police officer. Man, Quahog really needing cops that they let Peter graduate to be a cop and even giving him a gun? Now we could have seen all the potential of Peter at the academy, but no. We get the A plot. Finally, Brian comes clean about what happened between him and Meg. And look, I'm not saying that Meg becoming obsessed with Brian was entirely his fault. I mean, Meg has problems, that's for sure. Again, look at her family. But had Brian just told her, hey, the kiss was a horrible mistake, and I should never have done that. Or, I don't know, maybe not drink to the point where you're being so drunk you kiss your friend's daughter that's still in high school? This would have never happened, and we could have had the far superior plot of Peter at the police academy. Look, I'm sorry I keep harping on this, but I mean, this is a really messed up plot, and I know Family Guy likes to push the envelope with his plots, but this is just messed up. Anyways, after Brian comes clean about what happens between him and Meg, Lois reacts in the same way anyone would react if someone Brian's age told them this.
Okay, I had that coming.
What the hell is wrong with you, you sick bastard?
Look, I was drinking.
Oh, what a shock.
Ha. Look, the short version is, this morning she made me eat her hair pie. It's not what you think. Stewie had some toot.
In my opinion, he should have gotten the same treatment as when Quagmire found out about him and his now mom, Ida. Also, Lois saw that he was drinking and even gave him the green. Why is she surprised he was drinking? If anything, she should have told him not to drink or smoke the devil's cabbage before going to her daughter's junior prom. Another dumb cutaway later and Brian goes to Meg's room and he sees the sick bureau that she made. And he tells her once again that they are just friends with the help of Garrett Morris.
Meg, we're not boyfriend and girlfriend.
We're not boyfriend and girlfriend.
I will never be attracted to you.
I will never be attracted to you.
You're acting like a psycho bitch.
You're acting like a psycho bitch.
Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.
Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.
It still doesn't work, as Garrett Morris makes an inappropriate joke. Seriously, why did the writers think this was an okay thing to put into the show? Meg sets up a trap for Brian by shaking a bag of dog food, knocking him out, and dragging him away. And I admit, the sounds they used of Brian running to the kitchen was kind of funny. We see the boys in the living room as Joe watches Bonnie undress in her room, Lois telling Peter that she hasn't seen Meg or Brian since last night, and Chris tells her that he saw Meg knock out Brian and drive off in his car.
What? Chris, why didn't you say anything?
I dropped the ball. I'm sorry. I have just been buried in paperwork for the past 72 hours.
Peter tells Lois that they'll find Brian and girl Chris. Finally, we get a merge of the plot. And as much of an idiot as Peter is, I know him and the boys will find Brian in time. I mean, they have Joe, an actual cop. Meg takes Brian to the Barrington Hotel, having him taped up all around the chair. I don't feel comfortable showing Meg in her underwear, so I'm going to edit the best I can because I'm not going to show any of it on my channel. They do the same skit with pronouncing Cool Whip wrong when Peter and the boys and Lois put an end to the madness.
Yeah, Brian, you're doing the same thing that Mia Farrow did to that Chinaman that Woody Allen brought home from the circus.
Peter, hold on to that thought, because I'm going to explain to you when we get home all the things that are wrong with that statement.
Lois tries to talk Meg out of this crazy obsession with Brian when Quagmire says he knows what to do. And don't worry, he actually has good advice. That's not what you think it is. I just wish he didn't explain it in a tiger speedo. But, you know, who else but Quagmire? No, that's just weird. Even if he's giving actual advice, you could have explained it without being weird. I keep forgetting this is Family Guy. The episode ends with the same whip joke.
Do you have the whip?
Got it right here. Wait, what?
And that was a really uncomfortable episode. Not gonna lie, watching this after some time, it really hasn't aged well. The Cool Whip joke gag started here, so I guess that's one of the only good things about the A plot for those who actually like that joke. The real problem is that we had to deal with that plot compared to Peter going to the police academy, and we didn't see any hijinks of Peter and the boys as cops. Just so we have to watch a gross plot about a drunk Brian making out with Meg, and it turns into her being obsessed with him, and it's spiraling down to the point where Quagmire gives Meg advice in a Speedo. It's not a good episode, and one of the reasons why I'm not the biggest fan of this series. Again, there are good episodes. If you want me to review one of the actual good episodes, or at least ones I think are good episodes, let me know in the comments. Let me know what episode of Family Guy is your favorite, and what do you think of the review? You fellow Hooties and new viewers' feedback means a lot as always, and I thank you for all of your support. Thanks for watching, and until then, I'll see you when you visit the Allery again, and I get my hoot in the dark.
I think that's everything.
You want me to double check?
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, share with your fam, subscribe today and join the Parliament of Hoots. And also comment what you thought of the review. What are your opinions on said episode? Let me know in the comment section below. Your guys' opinion means so much to me, new viewers, and fellow Hooties. Check out the videos below, it'll take you to more of my content, and follow my other social medias, including Instagram, Twitch, and also Twitter, or X. Until next time, guys, I'll see you when you visit the Allery again, and I get my hoot in the dark.